After I bought my little guy Max trailer and first heard about boondocking, the idea was overwhelming to me, when in reality, RV boondocking is not really complicated. This is Boondocking 101, everything that you need to know to feel confident about boondocking for your very first time, including power, water, and sewer. Hi, Weekend Warrior family, or if you're new here, I'm Randy, and every Thursday I help you make big memories in small campers because weekends are just too short. After I share the what, why, where, and how to get all of your Boondocking 101 questions answered, I'm going to share my #1 boondocking tip to ensure that things go right for you when you go boondocking for the very first time. Boondocking is simply RVing without being connected to water, electric, or sewer. That's it. That's what boondocking is. Some refer to boondocking as wild camping, because most people consider boondocking as RV camping off-grid in really remote locations. Others call it dry camping because you won't have electric, sewer, or water hookups. And others refer to boondocking as free camping because the typical boondocking locations are free. You're not RV camping at a campground, so you don't have to pay campground fees. More on this coming up. So when you hear someone mention wild camping, dry camping, or free camping, they're all referring to boondocking. Probably the #1 reason people love to boondock is to get away from the crowds. You could be miles from your closest RV neighbor. This is definitely the #1 reason that I enjoy boondocking. So, if you're not RV camping at a campground, where do you boondock? This was one of my biggest questions. And the answer is public land. Public land like BLM land, National Forest, State Forest all offer spots for us to boondock. Yes, public land offers the opportunity for us to find a place to boondock for free. These free camping spots are often found off Forest Service roads that you travel down to find a suitable place to boondock. Like when I boondocked in the Ozark National Forest. We drove up and down these off-the-beaten-path roads looking for an RV camping spot. And Forest Service roads are not paved. Let's just say this was quite the adventure. Don't make the same rookie mistakes I did, which was towing my RV down these roads without first scouting the roads out first. Always unhitch and investigate the roads. Doing this will ensure that your RV is safe to go there. And equally as important is knowing that there is a place to turn around with your tow vehicle and your RV. Boondocking on public land is very different than camping at a campground. You cannot make a reservation and you probably won't know what to expect. But getting there can really be part of the adventure. There are resources to help you find these spots that others have camped at, such as campendium.com and freecampsites.net. I'll leave this information and all other resources that I mentioned in this video in the video description below. With that said, there are national and state forests that have rustic or primitive campgrounds that you can boondock for a fee. And some of these have vaulted toilets. There are no bells and whistles or hookups, but you can avoid these Forest Service roads. And I love these camping spots for boondocking. Recreation.gov is a great place to find these campgrounds. RV boondocking takes a little more preparation, but trust me, this is easier than you think. The most important thing to keep in mind is that you're not pulling into a campground with amenities. So you must be self-sufficient and self-contained, meaning that you'll need to bring everything with you that you'll need. And the 3 biggies are water, power, and sewer. Real quick, before I get into these, after watching this video, if you have more questions, I'm happy to help. Ask away in the comments section below. Or if you have Boondocking 101 tips that you think others will find helpful, leave them also in the comments section below. Okay, let's talk about keeping your RV powered up while you're boondocking. And there's a couple of different resources that you can use. Your RV batteries are basically going to run the lights and fans in your RV. They're not going to power your air conditioner or your microwave. And if you did this, it would absolutely drain your RV battery in no time. But there are solutions, so keep watching. Another important thing to remember is, if you have a flooded, also known as a wet battery, or an AGM battery in your RV, you should never discharge them below 50%, or you'll cause permanent damage to your RV battery. Because of this, seasoned boondocking pros invest in lithium batteries for their RV because they can be discharged to 80 to 100%. I have an upcoming video to help you determine which type of batteries might be best for you and how to maximize your battery life. So be sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss this upcoming video. Solar and solar panels are a great way to keep your RV battery charged. I have solar panels on the top of my Little Guy Max trailer. If you're counting on solar panels to keep your RV battery charged, keep in mind to find a spot where your solar panels will have direct access to the sun. Propane is another great power source. Most RV refrigerators will run off of both propane and electric hookups. If yours does, you can run your refrigerator without electric hookups. And propane can also be used to run your heater, your gas stove or cooktop, and your water heater. Another useful purpose for propane when boondocking is using it for your portable gas grills. I love using my O grill, when boondocking or not, to keep cooking odors out of my RV. A generator is another good way to get power into your RV. A couple of things to keep in mind about generators is they tend to be noisy and you will need gasoline to run them. But they're a great resource to help keep you powered up when you're boondocking. The next power source I want to mention is portable power. I bought my portable power station, the Jackery 1000, specifically for boondocking or when I'm RV camping without hookups. I use it all the time to keep my devices charged. It also has a solar panel that I use to keep it charged up. I love my Jackery portable power station. And if this is something you think you might find useful too, I'll leave a link to the one that I use in the video description below. You'll need to fill your RV water tanks before you get to your boondocking spot, because there will not be an available water source like you're used to finding at campgrounds. The biggest thing to consider about water is, will you have enough water? And this will depend on the size of your RV water tank, how well you're able to conserve water, and of course how long you're going to be gone. But don't stress, because if you think that your RV water tank may not be large enough to carry enough water with you for the days or however long you're going to be gone boondocking, there are ways to carry extra water with you. Many boondockers use jerry cans and water bladders to bring extra water along. One of the best I heard of was from the YouTube channel Life Interrupted in one of my recent videos about boondocking essentials. They shared their favorite way to bring an extra supply of water along using this water bladder. If you want to learn more about this and other YouTubers' favorite boondocking essentials, I'll leave a link to that video in the video description below. If you have an RV with a bathroom, the main thing to consider is how quickly your black tank will fill up. And this will depend on the size of your black tank and how long you're going to be out boondocking. If your RV doesn't have a bathroom, that doesn't mean you can't go boondocking. You can use a portable toilet. Just remember, you need to pack out everything when you leave, meaning there won't be a place to dispose of your waste. So be mindful of this. My number one boondocking tip to ensure that things go right for you is to go to a campground that does not have hookups and maybe close to home and just go for the weekend. Or if you're really nervous about your first time boondocking, you can go to any campground and just not hook up. This is how I got my feet wet with the whole boondocking concept. And this might be a great way for you to get your feet wet too. It's an easy way to get to know how comfortable you're going to be boondocking, but also a great way to get to know your RV's boondocking capabilities. Because if you find out that boondocking is not for you, then you can simply hook up to power and enjoy the rest of your camping trip. Here's something else I want to point out. When you get comfortable camping without hookups, this greatly expands the number of campsites you can camp at. Frontenac State Park is located close to my home, and this campground only has electric hookups. But there aren't hookups at every campsite. And the electric hookup campsites are always the first to get booked. But because I'm comfortable RV camping without hookups, I can grab one of those non-electric campsites.